How y'all doing out there in YouTube land? This is Stiletto coming at you from the Wild Wild West. And today, well, we got a fun one today. These are my all-time favorites to carry on a day-to-day basis for not only for, when I'm not at work, but sometimes I like to carry them at work too. And I just think the Recon 1, the large Recon 1 is a really good all-round knife that can be used for a lot of different things. My primary purpose is for self-defense, but they're just like a a very heavy duty, lightweight knife that can do a lot of things because we've all seen the videos with people like batoning wood with these, doing all kinds of crazy stuff with these, just strength testing the crap out of them. And they always come out, very strong. They always prove themselves to be very strong knives. And I've always liked the Recons. The other knife that the first videos that we did was the holdouts and the towel wars in this series of videos that I'm doing. By the way, this is number 12. Number 12, people. This is number 12. And we got about 3 more videos to go. And this is the last of the modern style knives, or what I would call modern style knives I actually do like to carry. We started off with one of my favorites to carry in sets. That's the holdouts and towel wars. And I like to carry those in sets on my motorcycle. The smaller set, the large set, I like to carry inside the city. And the XL set is like when I get on the highways and going on long distance rides. Those are my 2 favorite sets to carry of holdouts and towel wars or motorcycle knives. But when it's hot outside and it's really too hot to be wearing a leather vest or a leather jacket on the motorcycle, I like to carry just one knife. And the one knife I will carry will be a Recon 1 if I'm in the city. A Recon 1 if I'm in the city. If I'm on the highway, I will often carry an XL, an extra large Voyager. I like to carry the extra large Voyagers. Why the Voyager over the Recon? It's just I like the way the handle grip is better on the XLs. The XL Voyager grip I really like. I think it's a really awesome extra large handle grip. And not that they're inexpensive, so if they ever get confiscated anywhere, it's not like a major loss, because all mine I always get them for like $55 at Midway on sale or whatever. So they're very inexpensive knife as opposed to carrying like a Towel War or a Espada or something like that. But anyway, or even Counterpoint. Counterpoints cost more than the Voyagers. But anyway, let's get into this. So let's start off with some measurements. I'm just going to do, let me see what I got here. I got the original version, CTS 6HP version, S35VN version, and new S35VN version. Let's just do the lengths real quick. I think they should be all the same. All exactly the same, pretty much. We'll start off with this one first. Just a hair under 4 inches. Same thing. Same thing. They're all exactly the same, people. The newest one, exactly the same. That tells me that they're all made in the same place. They've always have been made in the same place. They come from the same mold. That's what that tells me. A lot of people always think that these things are different. They're not different. The only one that is different from any of these other ones is this one. And we'll get into that when we, matter of fact, let's check out the blade length on that one, because that one is different. Same length. It's still the exact same length though. What's different on this one is the grinds. The grinds are a little bit different. Blade thickness. Get zeroed out. .32 millimeter. 3.32 millimeter on that one. 3.34 millimeter on that one. 3.40 Let me do it real tight. No, 3.34, 3.34. So they're all the same thickness too. 3.33. The new one, 3.34. 3.34. This one I expect to be a little bit thinner because it's been polished, sanded and polished a lot, but it's actually not that much different. All right. The weight. Five point one. Let's do one that hasn't been sanded or polished. 5.2. And that's for the drop point. Let's also do the clip point. 5.1. So they're all about the same weight. Same weight also. This is CTS 6 HP version. You know what? Let's do one without the cog ring and the snaggletooth stuff on it. 5.2. 5.2. Let's try now with the cog ring and snaggletooth stuff on it. 5.3. Doesn't add that much weight to it. Same for these. Let's do one without any of the extras. 5.3. And that's a Tonto blade. This is the drop point. 5.3 also. And this is the Tonto point with all the snaggletooth stuff on it. 5.3. This is a new S35 VN1. 5.7. Whoa. Let's see. Do that again. 5.7. That's with the snaggletooth stuff on it. 5.5 without the snaggletooth stuff on it. So the new ones are heavier. Oh, I know why. Because it's got the smoother G10 instead of being textured out, where they mill a little bit of the G10 away for texture to give it more texture. All these are what you would call the ones that tear up your pockets. These right here are fairly smooth. And so without milling them out for texture, and I bet you that adds weight. That'd be my guess. All right, let's get into these people. First off, we're going to start off with the polished one. Little story behind it. These were my very first ones. These two right here, the two polished ones I have. They were my very first Recon 1's. The very first. I probably had these for like 12 years or so. This is the only one that's out of my old ones that still is in use. I like to carry this as a jacket pocket knife. Not a vest knife, but inside the coat jacket pocket. That's the reason why it doesn't have any pocket clips on it. All my jacket pocket knives, like my large counterpoint, my medium espada, and my large American Lawman, the ones that are all polished out, they're all Japanese AUS 8A, Seiki stainless steel Japan, Seiki stainless steel from Japan. Those are the ones I like to carry in jacket pockets. None of them have pocket clips on them. Why? Because I prefer these without the pocket clips. And if I'm going to carry in a jacket pocket, there's no need for me to have a pocket clip because I'm not going to be clipping it to anything. So why not just take off the pocket clips? I have lots of other knives with pocket clips. But that's the way I used to originally carry this one. And this one is the one I used to carry in my front right pocket. And it does have a pocket clip on, and the back spacer's not polished, because I want it to be a little bit more concealed when I carry it. Both of these have saber hollow ground blades, just like all the Recon 1 Tontos have, with the flat ground tip. They have 6061 aluminum back spacers and thick G10 scales that are very highly texturized. This is the first set of Recons I used to like to carry. Both of these knives are about 12 years old. Or whenever they first started making Recon 1's, that's when I bought these. And I paid like $70 for them. They came with an original finish, like it was called a Tough X finish, like what you see here. And I did not like the Tough X finish. It's like a painted on finish. And as soon as you start using the knife, it starts wearing off. So I ended up just removing with the quick strip from Home Depot. You take apart the knife completely. Find yourself like a glass plate, baking plate or something like that, and totally cover the blades with the quick strip. And then you take a wooden popsicle stick. Don't use anything that's not plastic, but metal, because metal will scratch your blade. You don't want to use anything that's metal. And so I would prefer to use something that's wood. And what I prefer is like a popsicle stick. And because when the quick strip bubbles up on the blade, bubbles the paint and finish all up, you just scrape it off with the popsicle stick. And then you go ahead and polish it all out. If you don't want to polish it out, these without being polished, they have like a stonewash finish. And I did my XL like that. I just left it unpolished after I stripped it. My Oz 8 XL, the one that I carry in my car. And that has a beautiful stonewash finish. Same thing with my AK-47, the original one that I have. Yeah, I like the stonewash finish also. This one, I used to have the stonewash finish on it, but then I damaged the blade again. And so I redid the blade, and that time I had to end up polishing it out all the way. But they polish out really nicely. It's really easy to polish these. It's not a hard job to polish them. A little bit of wet sanding and stuff like that, and buffing with buffing compound and stuff like that on a hand. I use a handheld buffer or a drill that I put buffing pads on, and buff them out, and they come out beautifully. These have been taken up to 3,000 grit. And what you do is you start off with a lower grit. Like as low as you don't have to go super low on these either. You can start with like 400 or 600 grit sandpaper, because basically what you're just doing, you're just buffing off the stonewash, or sanding off the stonewash, and then you go to 800, 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, 2,500, and 3,000 grit was like my final grit I use on these knives, and that will give you a mirror finish. And you don't press hard when you're sanding. You do it very lightly. Takes a little bit of time though. You got to be patient. It doesn't happen instantly. This one right here is the one with the Tough X finish. This has always been a collector. This is my drop point or spear point Recon 1 when they first came out. It has a saber hollow ground blade. And this is the clip point or buoy blade. Saber hollow ground blade. I think now these both have saber flat ground blades. But all the other features are exactly the same. Now, after these came these. This is the next generation. I think I got these like 2014, 2015, somewhere around in there. And that's when the CTS 6HP versions came out. And absolutely love these. These are made exactly the same way as these. Exactly the same way. The grinds and everything are exactly the same. Only difference is the blade steel. That's the only difference on these, is the blade steel. These are CTS 6HP. It's got all the snaggletooth stuff on it. And this one, when these first came out, the snaggletooth stuff didn't exist. That's why they never had snaggletooth stuff on them. And when these came out, Rob started his company, Snaggletooth MF, and I tried his stuff out, and I absolutely loved it. And as you all know why, I like the aluminum cog ring, and I like the aluminum snaggletooth wave feature. All mine are aluminum. I like the aluminum ones over the plastic ones. But I just trust aluminum more than I do plastic. But I don't use these as like a karambit. I don't flip them around or anything like that as like a karambit. But what I do like about them is that it extends my grip. It takes us from being like a 5 inches worth of reach into the 6 inch realm. And I've always been taught 6 to 9 inches is the kind of reach that you want to have on a blade. So having one of these is like having a fixed blade with a 6 inch blade. Absolutely love it. And it also makes it really easy to draw from your pocket because you just stick your finger in here and you just pull it out, and the snaggletooth wave feature hits the corner of your pocket and it flies open. These are made exactly the same way. This one's got the OD green handle scales, American G10 handle scales with originally had the 6061 backspacer. Now it has the Snaggletooth MF aluminum backspacer, or cog ring, should I say, and the aluminum Snaggletooth wave feature. Excellent knife. Next one up. Now this one had all the same things that this one had. It had the Snaggletooth cog ring on it and the Snaggletooth wave feature on it. But then when I got the new one, I swapped all the parts from this one over to this one. You know, as far as like the cog ring and the wave feature. And I also had found some deep carry pocket clips for these, and I put a deep carry pocket clip on it. The pocket clip came off of Amazon. I don't know if the person's still selling them, but that's where I got it from, was Amazon. And that's got all the exact same features. Same blade steel. This one's got the 6061 aluminum backspacer. Everything's unpolished because I kept it black, so it stay nice and concealable. I absolutely love DLC finish that Cold Steel uses. It's very tough. It really bonds to the blade. It's not a paint or something like that where it comes off easy. Lots of times you'll get a scratch on here and you think you got a scratched up blade, and then you go to clean it and you find out that it was just on top of the DLC coating, and the DLC coating's not even damaged. I started to tell Lucky that when we hooked up the last time, because his has a bunch of white stuff on it from doing drywall and stuff. I think he thinks the blade is scratched, but all he has to do is just clean it. It'll probably look just like this one does. But this is my other one. It's the exact same thing as this one, only it's totally stock. This one I've never used, because I never needed to use it. When I first bought these, this was meant to be a collector too, but I ended up using it because I like the all blacked out stuff. I bought this one to be the user. And these two, this one and this one, were supposed to be collectors. But this one is a collector, it's never been used. And this is what it looks like, totally stock. They advertise these as being 3.5 millimeter, but as we just saw, they're really like 3.35 millimeters. Yeah, right? Something like that. Almost 4 millimeters, but not quite. I mean, almost 0.4 millimeters instead of being 0.5 millimeters. But they're actually 3.3.5 millimeters. I don't know if that sounds right. But anyway, let's move on to the next ones. These right here, the reason why I bought these, I already had these and these, didn't really need any more, but I think it was Blades of Canada. I think that's the name of the website that these came from. They were getting special, they had like a special connection with Lindsey Thompson at Cold Steel, and they got to order knives the way they wanted them, and they wanted them without the DLC finish. And so this was the only way that you were able to get these without a DLC finish at that time. I don't know if it's still like that, but at that time, that's the way it was. And so I went and ordered all 3 of them that I wanted. Got one to be a user. This and got one to be a collector. This is the collector. This one's never been used. This one right here, this year, just this past year, I put the cog ring on it and the aluminum snaggletooth way feature on it. Absolutely love it, people. Absolutely love it. This has an S35 VN blade. These knives aren't new though. I've had them for about 4 years now. I think I bought them like a year before Cold Steel sold out or sold to GSM. Absolutely love them. These are the first S35 VN ones when they first started coming out. This one right here is the drop point. And I put the deep carry pocket clip on it. I've carried this one to work and use it as a work knife. It's great for slicing food and stuff like that. Drop point has a pretty narrow tip. But, is it really narrow though because it's got like a swedge and the high point. I think it just more like it just appears to be narrow when it's narrow and weaker when it's really not. Excellent knife though. Excellent knife for a work knife and self-defense knife. This one right here is the one that's never been modified or messed with or anything like that. They all originally had the shiny pocket clips. As you can see, none of them do now. And the reason why this one doesn't, because I think I took the pocket clip from one of these, one of my old pocket clips, and put it on this one. But it does still have the shiny screws, so you can tell that it did have the shiny pocket clip. Absolutely love it, people. Awesome knives. Awesome knives. I highly recommend the Recon 1's. One of my favorite all-time knives. This one up here, these are the new ones. This is the new one from last year. And it's exactly like all the old DLC ones and Japanese AUS-8A ones as far as the blade grinds are concerned. The only thing that's really different on it is the handle scales. The handle scales have the smoother G10 instead of having the highly textured G10. And as we saw, it weighs 5.7 ounces instead of 5.1 or 2 because of that. But this is the one I carry all the time now. This one gets carried more than any of these other knives on this table, because it's the one that's in my rotation drawer. I love the snaggletooth cog ring on these. I love them without the cog ring too, but to me, adding the cog ring to it makes it more like a XL Voyager. It gives me that extra grip in the back. That feels really nice and secure in my hand. I really like them. The cog ring to me on this one, and also like the Black Talon. The Black Talon 2, those are the two that I really like having the cog rings on. And the Code 4. The Code 4 is an excellent knife for the cog ring too. Because I have one that Rob made for me from Snaggletooth that's a Code 4, and that's an awesome knife. It makes that 3.5-inch blade jump out to being like a 5.5-inch blade as far as the reach is concerned. Now this one still has a saber hollow ground blade with the flat ground tip, but the differences is that the finish, instead of being a shiny DLC finish, it has a matte black DLC finish. And the blade grinds down here at the sharpening choil are different because it comes straight down, so you have a really nice sharpening choil where the end of the edge doesn't get blunted out. And see what I mean by that is that if you look at the end of the edge on one of these, I don't know if it's easy to see on that. Might be easy to see on these have the nice edge too, like on this one. Now it's like this. So I like the new Tonto blade better. And that's just this year. This one comes from this year. This one's last year. So last year they were still making them like they used to make them. And now this year they switched up on the sharpening choil. They brought the edge all the way back to the sharpening choil, which I like better. See how that one is? Let's see how this one is. So that's the difference on those. And you know, it's a small difference, but in a way, it's still sort of a big difference. I love the orange shade on these handles. To me, is the nicest orange shade out of all the ones I have with orange G10 scales, or even like the Grivex scales on the Formax Scout that I have, the orange Format Scout I have. But I like this shade. It's more of a pumpkin. It's like a deeper orange or whatever. It's like a really nice orange. And it really contrasts really nicely against the matte brown, the matte finish blade. This one I really like. You know, I'm not knocking GSM for, you know, like the knives that they're putting out now. You know, sure they're doing some things I wish they would do it a little bit different, like with the Warcraft. I wish that still had a Saber flat ground Tonto blade as opposed to the Saber hollow ground Tonto blade, because I like the way that Andrew Demko designed it originally, with the handle where the exposed tang narrows down at the back, so to save weight. I think that's an excellent way to make a heavy duty camp knife or a heavy duty combat knife with the exposed tang. Narrow it out, because it doesn't need to be thick all the way to the back, because it doesn't really serve any purpose. It just needs to be thick up front and narrow it down, so you save a lot of weight. That makes a lot of sense to me. And but you know, it's still exposed or whatever. You know, I mean, I love the way the original Warcrafts were made, and those were Andrew Demko designs, by the way. The new one is a GSM cold steel design, and the GSM cold steel design is just like, you know, thick all the way back, and they got the hollow grind instead of the Saber grind. I mean, the Saber flat grind. They have a Saber hollow grind with the flat ground tip, which is like, you know, a traditional style way that cold steel's always made Tonto blades. But when you're talking about the Warcraft, I think the Warcraft should be a super heavy duty blade that is good for, you know, camp purposes, survival purposes, combat purposes. It's sort of like it should be a jack of all trades type knife to me. And with the Saber flat ground blade, I think it makes an awesome camp knife. I know they split wood really well, because the Italian one I have, that one with just a 5.5 inch blade, I believe, it splits wood like, you know, like a charm. Splits wood better than my 6 inch or SE6 with the full flat ground. Excellent knives. All right, people. Well, that concludes this one. Juno's over there sleeping. I see her over there sleeping. She's all nighted out and rested. It's a hot day today, so she's probably just trying to chill, not exert that much energy. What you doing, Juno? You want to come be in the video? No, she's passed out. She's all curled up in her cat curl. Anyway, people, that's it for this one. I'm gonna try to knock out a couple more videos today, and then release them at different times. But we're at the end of it. We're at the end of this series now. The end of the 4-inch lock blade, you know, series for my lock blade knives that I have in my collection. And these are the last ones. All the next series are like knives I don't carry. I just collect. Some of them I did carry at one point and one time, but it was like many moons ago. You know, several couple, you know, I won't say several, but maybe, well, several is 3, right? Yeah, well, maybe it is several decades ago. But I still want to show them, you know, show the old style knives too. But this is the last of the modern ones. These I actually do carry. I've always carried. I bought my whole purpose and intent behind these was not to collect them, but to carry them. And you know, I always got extra ones to collect because I like to collect. That's just me, people. I don't use every knife that I have, but just about every series of knife I have, there is a few of them that I do use. You know, like there's a few counterpoints I use out of my counterpoint collection. There's a few Tau Wars I use out of my Tau War collection. There's a few Recons I use out of my Recon collection. You know what I mean? That's the way I sort of roll. And there's, you know, there's Voyagers I use out of my Voyager collection. Same thing. But those, you know, my top recommended knives from Cold Steel that I would recommend the most are my Recons, my Tau Wars, my Holdouts, my Voyagers, my Espadas, my counterpoints. Which other ones would I highly recommend? The Rajas, and I'm trying to think, people. I know I'm probably leaving something out. Recons, Rajas. Oh, Code 4s. Code 4s are great knives too. I highly recommend those. That's about it. The ones I've actually carried a lot. Oh, AK-47 is a good knife. AK-47 is a good knife. Both fixed blade and folders. Oh, the SR1s. See, there I go. SR1s. I still carry those a lot. SR1 fixed blade or SRK and the SR1 are both awesome knives. And is that about it? Oh, 4 Max. I don't carry the 4 Maxes, but I do carry 2 of the 4 Max Scouts. The orange ones I have, the orange one I have, and the OD green one I have. The OD green one that I swapped handle scales with the satin or the stonewash finished blade. Those go in my emergency backpacks and stuff like that. I keep those constantly in my emergency backpacks. One of them goes to work with me every day. Those are like the ones I recommend the most. Oh, 8010. How can I forget the 8010? The 8010 Tonto, I carry that one all the time. That's one of my favorite knives to carry is the 8010 Tonto. To me, the 8010 Tonto, out of all of them, is the easiest to use, the most fun to manipulate. The only thing you got to be worried about a little bit is that you got to make sure you have your finger all the way forward when you're manipulating because you will get pinched if you don't. But it's not a bad cut. It's just get a little nick. And it's not something you're going to die from or you have to go to the hospital for. You just get a little nick. But you know, that could be cured too, you know, if you just dull that little bit of part of the blade or whatever. But I don't do that. I just stay aware that I need to keep my finger all the way forward. But the 8010 is an awesome knife. 8010 is an awesome knife. And the Atlas Lock and Gauge too. I like that one too. I recommend that one. Not for heavy duty use though, because I saw in Gideon's tackle when he batoned when he messed his up. But if you're just gonna fidget, this is a great knife to fidget with. It can handle a lot of fidgeting. Mine has developed a little tiny bit of up and down blade play, but it's because I think I need to replace the spring in it. And I haven't seen replacement springs for them yet. Whereas, like, you know, with the Shark Lock, I sort of got that issue with the Shark Lock too, where the spring can wear out after a while. And it's like, it doesn't wear out to like it breaks or anything. It's just that it's not as strong or something, and it doesn't push the lock bar onto the blade tang as strongly, and so you get a little tiny tick. And so once you replace the spring on it, you know, but Andrew Demko and John Demko, they supply you with new spring. They have new springs that you can buy. You get them at Blade HQ and Knife Center or whatever. And they're coming from Andrew Demko. They're not coming from China or somewhere. They come from Wampum, PA. And use one of those springs and it cures the problems. But Cold Steel needs to do the same thing with their Atlas Lock springs. They need to have replacement springs. Just like Benchmade has with the Omega springs. You can buy replacement springs for the Benchmade Omegas too. So, you know, because springs, after a while, they will lose a little bit of their tension. That's just the nature of a spring. It doesn't mean that's a fault or a flaw with the knife or anything. It's just the nature of the spring. But those are knives I recommend, people. And I've tried lots of others, and you just buy any Cold Steel knife with I like the original Broken Arrows too. The original broken arrows. Oh, and the tiger claw and the black talon too. There's so many of them that are so great. There are just so many that are so great, people. And there's some that I haven't tried that look pretty interesting to me too. And I just never did try them. That there's some new models out that look kind of interesting too, like was it the G10 Verdict, and what's that other one? There's a couple of them that look pretty interesting. Oh, I'm forgetting the Tough Light. I like the little Tough Light. But just about any triad folding or triad lock cold steel, I would say is probably a safe knife to use. Put it that way. I'm just mentioning the ones I've used the most and the ones that I like the best. And you can tell that from my collection of which ones I like the most, because always the ones I like the most, what I do, I end up with a lot of them. Because whenever they come out with a new model, I always want to try out the new model. Or when they come out with a new blade steel, I want to try out the new blade steel. And I never just get one, I always get like 2, maybe 3. Right now I only have 2 of these, but if they come out with something different next year, I'll probably get that one too. So I'll probably make it 3 like all the rest of these. But the cold steel triads to me are the strongest, most dependable, most reliable locks on the planet for folders. And the thing that I really like about them is that the knife doesn't have to be super heavy and super strong. I mean, super heavy and bulky or anything like that, just to be super strong. You can make a fairly lightweight, thin, slim, easy to conceal, easy to hide away pocket knife with a triad lock, and it'll be just as strong as any of these other knives that you see that weigh 8 and 9 ounces or whatever. 10 ounces. And it'll hold just as much weight and be just as strong as they are, and only weigh like 4 to 5 ounces. And myself, I like knives that are fairly lightweight. I don't like, because I'm cursed with the flat butt. So I don't have big butt cheeks to hold up my pants. my waistline. My stomach size is bigger than my waistline, so if a knife is heavy, it tends to want to pull down my pants all day long, and so I have to tend to keep pulling my pants up and stuff like that. So I prefer knives that are fairly lightweight but have at least like a 4-inch blade. A lot of my knives have 3.5-inch blades. Some of them even have 3-inch blades, but the ones I really like to carry, because this is the largest size I can carry where I live, without any drama from the police, it's like a 4-inch blade. So so that's why you see that I have so many 4-inch blade folders. And that's all honest. I'm just keeping it real, people. Just trying to keep it 100 with y'all. I'm not trying to play games with anybody or give anybody any false truths or anything like that. I tell it like it is. I'm not into the fancy knives or whatever. I'm into things that function and perform. I'm not into things that just look good or look snazzy or something like that. True, I do have some of those kind of knives in my collection, but that I just buy just because I thought they look cool and stuff like that. I just wanted to collect them. But these are the knives I use. These are the knives I carry. These are knives I use. These are the knives I carry. I don't like to carry knives that are super expensive. The only knife I carry that's super expensive is the Andrew Demko 8020S models. That's the only one that's super expensive. What I call super expensive is like being above the $200 range, like into the high 200s, 300s, 400s, $500s, $600 range. I don't carry knives like that. The only one I do carry that's like that is the 8020S models, because that's just the best. If you like carrying a knife that's a fidgeting knife that's super strong, I don't think you can beat an 8020S or 8020.5 for that matter. I just think the Shark Lock rules when it comes to a fidgeting knife. Nothing's better. But anyway, that's all I got to say about these, people. I hope you enjoyed this 4-inch group of knives I like to carry, and the modern ones and stuff like that. We're gonna get into some old ones now. Stay tuned. Peace out. Stiletto. Number 12, number 13's coming up.